This video has 20 million views and counting from the moment that I recorded this because it exposes the utter hypocrisy of the victim-oppressor mindset. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, there's this left-wing mentality that believes if you can prove that one group is a victim, then you are allowed to do literally anything you want to the group that you have designated the oppressor, and it is legitimized. There is no problem with that. I mean, we've clearly seen this in the Palestine-Israel conflict, forgiving the Palestinians to no end, despite everything they did on October 7th, because they were deemed the oppressor, and now anti-Semitism, hating on Jews and on Israelis, and literally even anti-Semitic attacks are totally accepted. We saw this in the Black Lives Matter. You have movements like George Floyd, etc., where blacks pretended that this was about equality, but in reality, it was about the fact that they were the victims, and therefore you could literally hate on anybody who's white, and that was justified. We've definitely seen this in the transgender movement, that despite the fact that we understand that maybe people who are transgender should have human rights, that shouldn't come at the cost of the feminism movement or of the female movement, right? Females who want to compete in sports that now have to compete with males who think that they are females are directly impacted. Females who want to go to the bathroom and not be in the presence of a male who thinks they're a female are directly impacted. There is this movement that believes if you can take the victim and overwhelm the world with evidence that they are a victim, then anything says and goes against the oppressor. And it is really, really frustrating because it is not just morally wrong, it is wrong in every sense of the way. People should be decent and kind and nice across the spectrum. People should have rights across the spectrum. And just because you have decided and designated yourself more of a victim, then that shouldn't mean that you can just destroy anybody in your wake who is what you consider to be an oppressor. I mean, even more than that, the mentality of this is so dangerous for a society. Are we all going to try and just out-victimize each other, step by step by step? Who's the person who suffered more so they can actually end up coming out on top? The whole thing doesn't work and doesn't make sense. And there's one person who above all has exposed this, okay? Her name is Riley Gaines, and I love her. I love her for a couple of reasons. She has been so clear and so sound, but she started out as a female sports person, okay? She was a competitor against the now very infamous Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas was like a 6-foot-something man who decided he was now a woman and therefore competed with Riley Gaines against her and outdid them by miles in competitive swimming, because obviously 6-foot men can beat young females who are short. Like, that's pretty self-explanatory. And so there was this massive, massive movement, and it started this whole discussion about sports, etc. And Riley was really at the front of it because people were being threatened to shut up, not say anything. Schools and Olympic systems even were accepting these transgender females who are literally biologically men and have all of the upper hand that a biological man has over a female. They were accepting them as females as normal, eviscerating the girls, and the girls had nowhere to compete. They were coming in second, third place. I mean, Riley, in her own, like, to her own credit, came in almost as close as Leah. But people who in the men category would have been bottom level sports athletes were now competing against the top level of females, and whatever. The hypocrisy of it is insane. Let's watch this video because it is truly amazing. But first, please make sure that you have subscribed to this channel. It is totally free. All you have to do is press the subscribe button. That will allow for this page to grow, for people to know about what we're doing. And if you find this helpful, maybe somebody out there can also find it helpful. And so you'll be doing us a favor. And in return, we will promise to keep on providing rational, radical commentary on everything that's going on. Let's watch this video. It's really interesting to see this group exposed for who they really are.
Now you can
Black
respond.
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
But that's
can.
very much
And you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much
You've
impossible.
been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You called me a race
Are you
baiter
kidding
with
me?
no
You're
evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I
You
been
can
a
be
race
racist-
baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race
I'm a
baiter.
powerhouse.
Well, you may be a powerhouse.
Understand something.
You may be
I'm a powerhouse.
You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
I want you to admit that.
When have
okay.
I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on. Tell me,
Honey.
Blossom. Give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here, at this point, I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said what I said.
So you don't have
and I
anything,
have to
do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race baiter.
Okay, obviously she was there to talk about trans women, and I also want to add to this fact that besides the fact that this woman clearly, literally believes that the word racist only applies to men, okay, we could call her an idiot for that, but that's her belief system. Like, she actually thinks that racism only applies to black people. It is not a universal term of being racist against a different ethnic group. She actually believes this. You have to think about this, okay? Because she is somebody who's been chosen to come on Piers Morgan. Now, whilst I have a lot to say on the Piers show, a lot to say, because I really think that it's just kind of this place for adults to embarrass themselves to some degree, it's also become a hubspot for a lot of cultural conversations. And truly, only the top people in certain industries are invited there. Not anybody can get on the show. They're looking for people who really know what they're talking about to come and debate. Now, obviously, they're looking for personalities who make a lot of noise, etc. But you're not going to be just a random Joe Schmo off the street who's called onto this. You have to be somebody that a lot of people know, which means that this Blossom female is somebody who's some sort of thought leader. She's being brought on to debate Riley Gaines, who is the leading thought leader on women's rights and transgender sports stuff. And this is her belief. She genuinely believes that racism only applies to blacks. Literally, that's her belief. I mean, besides the fact that this is just so shocking, the statement, the confidence with which she says it is like, you can't be racist to, like, against a white person. I'm a black person. That can't be. You're a white male. You're like literally the worst of the worst. So you can't be racist. And if you watch Riley, her face is just like, this is absurd. What is going on? She's actually laughing throughout this clip. She's just, this is so embarrassing. But this video has received millions and millions and millions of views because it exposes the hypocrisy. All of us understand that you can be racist to a bunch of different groups. You can be racist to somebody who's different to you. Israelis are considered racist to Arabs. Whites are considered racist to blacks. Blacks are considered racist to whites. There's a lot of different groups that don't like other groups, and therefore you have a huge amount of racism in the world. That's a norm. People like the groups that they connect to, and whilst racism is bad, it often comes from lack of exposure, lack of education, thinking that somebody else is just a really bad being for certain things, like their color of their skin or their religion or the place that they're from, okay? Racism is something that a lot of people experience, not just black people, but here they are exposing on a conversation and a debate about transgender rights, how she thinks she has the upper hand because she is black. And it's infuriating to see this. It's like, it just drives me nuts that you have a thought leader out there who literally thinks with so much confidence that she can get away with such a statement because she's been made to believe that because she's black, she can't be racist to anybody. And everybody, in fact, is racist to her. The damage that this has done to the black community, the damage that this does to people in general, to think that they are constantly the victim makes them so miserable. You know, I was thinking about this the last few days. We're going to make a video about it today, about the pro-Palestinians. And it's just like, why would you want to be part of that group? Like, you look, not at the Palestinians, but the pro-Palestinians, these angry, hateful people in the streets who are wearing these ugly outfits, who are just full of anger and darkness. And you're like, none of them ever look happy. None of them ever look happy. Meanwhile, you look at the Jewish people who have been struggling so much, and you look at the pro-Zionists, and they're building their lives, and they're having families. Riley Gaines is about to have a baby. They're so productive and moving forward with their lives. And you think to yourself, why would you want to be part of that group? Why would you want to be part of the group that always victimizes themselves? But Riley Gaines is not just wonderful because of this video, and I think she does a great job just laughing at her and exposing the hypocrisy. She's wonderful because she's actually been very vocal in a calm way about everything that's going on with the hostages and with Israel. And why is this a big deal? Well, besides the fact that clearly she is unbelievably courageous. I mean, to lose literally her entire swimming career because she was willing to speak out against transgender rights at a time where it was very not popular. You see, now it's popular. Now it's like, yeah, we should say something. That was not the case when Riley Gaines started talking. She was massively hated for exposing the hypocrisy of this movement. She's clearly courageous. And right now, within the right-wing movement, speaking out for Israel is something that's actually really not so simple to do. I mean, we've seen what's going on with the Young Republicans. We've seen what's going on with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. There's a massive shift towards anti-Semitism within the right-wing movement, and she's kind of confidently saying these things. Let's watch this next video because I think it's great.
Okay, fantastic news, and you've probably already seen, as of this morning, all living Israeli hostages have been released and freed from Hamas captivity. Yeah. I thank God for President Trump every single day. This was a campaign promise that he made. He said many, many times, speaking to the hostages, we will not forget you, we will not abandon you. With God's help, you will safely return back home. So, another promise made, another promise kept. Yeah. But I want to show you a picture of the hostages that were released today, and I want you to tell me what you notice. Notice anything in particular? Like maybe the fact that there were no remaining living female hostages. Think about that for a minute. Now I want to challenge you and ask you why, which I believe this to be a pretty rhetorical question. But even still, let's dissect it. Why would a radical Islamist terrorist group not have any women to spare?
Okay, we're not going to get into the rest of the video, but I mean, I guess we could watch it in a second. But I think the point that she's making here is important, and I don't think it's talked about enough. All of the men who were left for years and years, and like for 2 years, because they were non-humanitarian, okay? It's an interesting concept if you think about it. They're just not humanitarian enough, so the young men, our young men, were left in captivity. And I love the fact that she brings this up. You see, her whole thing is women's rights and female rights, and she just talks about the fact that, like, she feels that it's wrong that the females were killed, and she's not actually very factually correct in her video, which is interesting to see that people could be so exposed to what's going on and still not actually know the realities on the ground, right? It's something that we just see across the spectrum, and it's an important thing to note. But I want us to take a second and say, in a world in which males are just literally disregarded and seen as just the lowlifes, you know, like women's rights, we're all about women and women and women and women, the feminist movement, or blacks and blacks, or transgenders, men are seen as like the oppressors, the terrible ones. Now, there's definitely some truth to it. There's definitely some truth to the fact that men might naturally have more of a high standing position in society than females, and females have had to fight for it. Okay, great, wonderful, but irrelevant. Our men are never treated with the respect that they deserve, and this bothers me. The fact that my husband could have been one of those people and not considered a humanitarian hostage, despite the fact that we know that they got the worst treatment, is unbelievably problematic. What are we teaching our young men? What are we teaching the people in our society? That the men are just useless, they're not actually as important. Look, a healthy society has strong men who believe that you should take care of the women and release the children and the elderly first, and that is 100% correct. But the men pay a massive price for that. These men were stuck in captivity whilst the females were released ages ago because of the fact that they are men. And that's something they should be rewarded and acknowledged for. Look at our men. We should be so proud of them. We should be so proud of our females and of our males and of everybody who contributes healthily to society. And I love that she brought that up. What we shouldn't be proud of is idiots still thinking that racism is only for black people. That's a little bit pathetic. Thank you for your attention to this matter.